Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Dark Magician Knight deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck is an extremely fun deck to play that summons out one of my favorite nostalgic boss monsters, the Dark Magician Knight. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing a single copy of Dark Magician Knight. This card is really easy to summon to your side of the field because it has the ability cannot be normal summoner set. This card cannot be special summoned except by using Knight's Title, and if this card is special summoned, you get to destroy a card on the field, which is a really cool ability just to pop a card on the field. The reason why I play a single copy of this card is because Knight's Title will actually let you special summon this card from the hand deck or the graveyard, meaning it's very easy to put this card back on your side of the field even if it touches the grave. This card is an amazing nostalgic boss monster. We then play 2 copies of the Ultimate Wizard in terms of attack and defense, 2 copies of the Dark Magician. This card is an amazing boss monster in the deck, and you got to play 2 copies of this card so that you can go in for Dark Magician Knight, our main boss monster. We then play a single copy of the Dark Magician Girl. Dark Magician Girl is a really good one out of the deck, so we can go for a lot of different fusion plays, but it's just a really cool nostalgic card. We then play a single copy of Timaeus the United Dragon. This card is basically walking polymerization for the deck because when it's summoned to your side of the field, you can actually use it to fuse into different monsters, which is super cool about this card. We then play a single copy of Paladinium Oracle Mahad. Paladinium Oracle Mahad is an amazing card to be able to play in this deck because it has the ability when you draw this card, you can reveal this card and then special summon it from your hand. And if this card battles a dark monster, its attack becomes double during the damage step only, boosting this card to 5,000 attack points, which is insane. And if this card is destroyed by battle by card effect, you get to special summon a Dark Magician from your hand deck or graveyard, which is a great ability to instantly get a Dark Magician back onto your side of the field. We then play a single copy of Apprentice Illusion Magician. This card is a great one-of in the deck and is actually a hand trap for the deck with the ability that you can special summon this card from your hand by discarding a card. And if this card is normal or special summon, you get to add a Dark Magician from your deck to your hand, and during damage calculation, if another Dark Spellcaster monster battles an opponent's monster, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or face it from field to graveyard, and that monster you control gains 2,000 attack and defense points during damage calculation only, which is a really cool ability to boost up our monster's attack points, like our copy of Dark Magician, which will go up to 4,500, which can match a Blue Eyes Ultimate. We then play 3 copies of Magician's Rod. Magician's Rod is really cool as a normal summon for the deck because this card has the ability, when this card is normal summoned, you get to add a spell or trap card from your deck to your hand that specifically lists the card Dark Magician in its text, which can actually search out our copies of Knight's Title so we can go for Dark Magician Knight. We then play 3 copies of Magician's Souls. Magician's Souls is really good as a 3-of, one of the most powerful cards in the entire deck, because when it's on your side of the field, you can send up to 2 spells and traps from your hand or field to grave to draw that many cards, and if it's in your hand, you can send a level 6 or higher spellcaster monster from your deck to the grave to either special summon this card or send it to the grave to special summon out Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your graveyard to your side of the field, which is a great effect to instantly get Dark Magician on your side of the field, or use this card to get you some draws to get the exact card that you need. We then play 2 copies of Illusion of Chaos. Illusion of Chaos is really good because this card can search out your copy of Magician's Souls or Magician Rod directly from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability for this card to have. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom to round out the monsters. This card basically just stops your opponent from touching the deck and is just a really good hand trap overall. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is definitely a one-of in the deck, basically just to stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're going in for all of your plays. We then play a single copy of Magician's Salvation. Magician's Salvation is really good as a 1-of in the deck, because when this card is activated, you get to set an Eternal Soul directly from your deck to your side of the field, and if you normally special summon out a Dark Magician or a Dark Magician Girl, you can target one of those monsters and special summon a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your graveyard with a different name than that monster, meaning you'll always get both of them on your side of the field, which is super cool about this card. We then play a single copy of Magical Eyes Fusion. Magical Eyes Fusion is really cool cool as a 1-of in the deck to help us go for a bunch of different fusion plays, and it's basically a miracle fusion for the deck. We then play 2 copies of Knight's Title. Knight's Title is how we make our copy of Dark Magician Knight. And this card has the ability that you activate this card by tributing a face-up Dark Magician on your side of the field to special summon out a Dark Magician Knight from your hand, deck, or graveyard, which is again why we just play a single copy of Dark Magician Knight in the deck, is because it's so easy to summon off of Knight's Title, which is why we just play the single copy in the build. But this card is how you summon out your copy of Dark Magician Knight. We then play 2 copies of Secrets of Dark Magic. Secrets of Dark Magic is really cool as a 2-of in the deck, because this card is basically a fusion spell for the deck to help you go in for fusion monsters, and it's a really cool 2-of in the build. We then play 2 copies of Secret Village of the Spellcasters. Secret Village is really good to lock down your opponent from using spell cards while we control a spellcaster monster, but if we don't control a spellcaster, we cannot activate spells, which is the only downside to this card. We then play 2 copies of Dark Magical Circle. Dark Magical Circle is really good for consistency of the deck, but you only really need 2 copies of this card. It has the ability, when this card is activated, you can look at the top 3 cards of your deck, then you reveal a Dark Magician or a spell trap that specifically lists Dark Magician among them and add it to your hand. Also place the rest on the top of the deck in any order that you want, and if a Dark Magician is normal or special summoned to your side of the field, then you actually target a card your opponent controls and banish it, which is an amazing ability just to spot remove cards off the field. We then play 3 copies of Soul Servant. Soul Servant is a really good 3-of in the deck, especially to combine with your copy of Dark Magical Circle, because you can activate Dark Magical Circle first, then activate Soul Servant to be able to know exactly what you're going to put on top of your deck to be able to draw that card out with Dark Magical Circle. Soul Servant is really good because it lets you place 1 card on top of your deck from your hand, deck, or graveyard that is Dark Magician or specifically lists Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl in its text, except a copy of Soul Servant. Also, during your main phase, you manage this card from the graveyard and draw cards equal to the number of Paladinian monsters, Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, with different names on the field or in the graveyard. And in this build, since we are playing Mahad in this build, you can get a maximum of 3 draws off this card's ability. We then play 3 copies of Preparation of Rites. Preparation of Rites is amazing to be able to search out our copy of Illusion of Chaos directly from our hand, essentially being like the Rhoda for the Rhoda of the deck, which is amazing about this card. So, that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing a few, and we're going to start off with 2 copies of Eternal Soul. Eternal Soul is really cool as a 2-of in the deck, because this card has the ability every Dark Magician in your monster zone is unaffected by your opponent's card effects, and if this face of card leaves the field, destroy all monsters you control, but you do get to special summon a Dark Magician from your hand or graveyard once per turn, which is an amazing ability. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is just really good as a 3-of in the build, just to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get in to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with a single copy of Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. This card is a really good 1-of to be able to protect our back row, because this card has the ability, this card's name becomes Dark Magician while in the field or in the graveyard, and your opponent cannot target spells or traps that you control with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects either, which is a really cool ability. Plus, it's another Dark Magician Knight, which is really cool. We then play a single copy of Red Eye's Dark Dragoon. This card is really easy to summon the deck with your copy of Timaeus, and it's an amazing card that cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. It's a walking negate, it goes up by 1,000 when it negates something, and also it pops cards on the field, which is absolutely crazy, while also doing burn damage to your opponent. We then play a single copy of the Dark Magicians. Dark Magicians is really good because this card has the ability that once per turn, if a spell or trap card effect is activated, except during the damage step, you get to draw a card, and if it's a spell or trap, you can set it to your side of the field. If it's a trap or a quick play spell, you can activate it the same turn it's set, and if this card is destroyed, you get to special summon both a Dark Magician and a Dark Magician Girl from your hand, deck, and or graveyard, which is amazing. This card basically defuses back into its original monsters and summons them out to your side of the field. And then play a single copy of Master of Chaos. Master of Chaos is really cool to be able to summon in the deck. It's just a really awesome boss monster. You then play a single copy of Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is just really easy to summon to your side of the field by using a copy of Magician's Rod plus a level 7 monster to be able to make this card. And this card is really good to be able to just spot remove cards off the field when it's summoned. And if you use light monsters to be able to summon this card, then Synchro Monster Control are unaffected by monsters activated by your opponent. And then Dark, if you use Dark monsters, monster you control cannot be destroyed by battle, which is a really cool ability about this card. But it's super easy to make because you don't even have to use a tuner to make this card. You then play a single copy of Access Code Talker. Access Code is just really good as a 1-of in the deck to be able to spot remove cards off the field, and it comes out absolutely massive. Then play a single copy of Blackluster Soldier Link Monster. This card is really easy to make in the deck, and it's an amazing card to be able to make in this build, because if you use 3 monsters to be able to make this card, which you always have to use 3 monsters to make this card, but if you use a monster that's level 7 or higher to be able to make this card, then your opponent cannot target it with card effects, and also cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects either, making it really hard for your opponent to deal with this card. And also has the ability, when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can activate one of its effects to be able to either gain 1500 attack points, make a second attack during the following battle phase of the next turn, or banish a card off the field non-targeting, which is insane. We then play a single copy of Selene to help us link climb, one copy of the Dark Charmer since we play so many dark monsters in the deck, one copy of SP Little Knight. You could change this card out for Nightmare Unicorn or a Nightmare Phoenix if you want to. I'm just using to play it because I have a copy of it. But if you don't have this card, it's not super necessary for the deck. It's just a really good double interruption. You then play a single copy of IP Masquerena to be able to go for SP Little Knight during the opponent's turn, which is super cool to be able to do. One copy of Cross Sheet, because we do play this card in the deck because of its fusion ability, because if you do fusion summon out a monster, you get to special summon a level 4 or lower monster from your graveyard, which will help you link climb into a copy of Selene, which is super cool about this card. And then play a single copy of Imduk, just in case we need to turn our copy of Dark Magician into a dragon, so we can go in for our copies of our fusion monsters using Secrets of Dark Magic, which is really easy to do, is this card just requires a normal monster, which can be Dark Magician to make this card. One copy of Artemis. Artemis is really good in the deck to be able to link away your copy of Magician's Rod so you can get it back later, which is just amazing about this card. And then finally play a single copy of Relinquished Anima so we can gobble up our opponent's cards that it points to. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Dark Magician Knight deck, you should definitely give this deck a try, because it's super cool to be able to summon it to your side of the field, because it's such a nostalgic card. I absolutely love Dark Magician Knight. It's just really cool to be able to base a deck around it. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.